You will be surprised to hear that the claim of Ukrainians who are supporting Bandera as a hero are Nazis, and the claim of people who want to keep Confederate statues are pro-slavery have a lot in common. Not just with each other, but also with the claim of people who want to remove statues of Confederate generals or even the founding fathers are anti-American or just want to erase history. But in this video, I will explain the connection between all these claims and why all of them are wrong. One of the justifications for the ongoing war in Ukraine is denazification, implying that Ukrainians are Nazis. And with nearly 40 million people, you will be able to find some Nazis among them. You will find even more who refer to Stepan Bandera as a hero. And if they refer to an alleged Nazi who allegedly committed ethnic cleansings and genocide as a hero, well, they must be Nazis, right? Well, no. And to be clear, I'm using the word allegedly because I did zero research into these claims, because they are not relevant to this video. This talking point of the Russian propaganda can be disproved whether these claims are true or not. If someone refers to Bandera as a hero, well, then they must think that he did something heroic. And again, with 40 million people, we will tend to find someone who thinks that committing genocide is heroic. What is far more common is that you will find people who refer to him as a hero because of his fight against the Soviet Union in order to establish a free and independent Ukraine. And this makes creating propaganda very easy. You just have to point out all the people who refer to him as a hero because of his Nazi actions, and then claim that every single person who regards him as a hero does so because of his Nazi actions and not because of his fight for freedom and independence. After all, if someone respects a person, then they must also respect every single action committed by that person, right? You can further prove this point by providing evidence of actual Nazis regarding him as a hero, and then claim that these people represent the entire group of Bandera supporters. A similar thing can happen with people who respect Confederate generals. They can do so because of their view that the states should have more rights and be more autonomous, and less power should be granted to the federal government, something that the Confederacy fought for. And even though the main reason for its autonomy during the Civil War was the right to keep slaves, someone can still respect these generals for fighting for autonomy while despising them for being pro-slavery. For example, if you're in support of legalizing cannabis, you may want your state to have the right to overrule the federal government's ban on it, and in this sense agree with Confederate generals, while on the other hand being very vocal about anti-slavery. But it's not just the Confederate generals, but also the founding fathers, many of whom were slave owners. But when people hail them as heroes, they do so not because they were owning slaves, but because they were fighting for freedom and independence and created a government that was the best at the time, giving unique freedoms and rights to its people. Well, to some of them at least. Until in 1920, leading scientists made a groundbreaking discovery in biology and realized that women are people too. Or in 1964, when after further extensive research, scientists concluded that black people are also people. But many people claim that the symbolism surrounding the founding fathers promotes slavery the same way Confederate statues do, ignoring the fact that people respect them for their positive contribution to society and not because of their slavery. And because of this alleged promotion of slavery, people want these symbols removed. And some people react to this by claiming that the people who want to remove these statues want to do so because they want to erase history. And by the way, this is the exact same reason why we don't have a statue of the guy who assassinated Adolf Hitler. We just wanted to erase him from history. And I'm not trying to make an argument that the Confederate generals are the same as Hitler. I'm trying to make a point that we can keep an accurate record of history without statues for every single historical figure or event. The argument that is more relevant to this video is that people who want to remove the symbols of the founding fathers want to do so because they are anti-American. And this argument is basically the opposite of people who respect the founding fathers are pro-slavery. This claim ignores the positive contributions of the founding fathers and focuses only on slavery, claiming that everyone who respects them does so only because of slavery. On the other hand, this one ignores the slavery and focuses only on the positive contributions, claiming that everyone who is criticizing them is criticizing their positive contribution to society. The common mistake in all of these arguments is that they are conflating the actions of a person with the person itself, arguing that if you hold a certain opinion of a person, then you must also hold the exact same opinion about all of the actions committed by that person. These arguments do not consider that you can actually hold a different opinion about different actions committed by the same person. And by all of this, these arguments create a strawman fallacy. If you like Bandera for fighting for freedom, then you also like him for being a Nazi. If you like Confederate generals for fighting for more autonomy, then you must also like them for being pro-slavery. If you dislike the Founding Fathers for owning slaves, then you must also dislike them for fighting for freedom and democracy. People are not good or bad, rather they take a position on a spectrum defined by all of their actions. People near the good end can do bad things, just like people near the bad end can do good things. The problem with idolizing people is that their statues or symbols do not necessarily reflect their positive actions. They can be misinterpreted to promote all of their actions, including the bad ones. Support for certain people can be misinterpreted as support for their bad actions. On the other hand, criticizing some people can be interpreted as criticizing their good actions. So it's important to distinguish between the action, or in some cases the argument, and the person who made them, and evaluate them separately from the person or even other actions or arguments made by them. I have several videos about more flawed arguments and propaganda and how you can recognize them, so if you are interested in political discussion, you should check them out, and thank you for watching. A special thanks to my Patreons Jay Brandon and Ardabon.